received at the office of KAA?
Just for clarity, yes, because that's why
the letters are received by KAA. Let me guide to the public.
Let me guide. And that's why I was asking for these letters. Yes. There are 3 letters, and it's only received at Kenya Airports Authority, and they're not here. That is one for Nexus Logic. The other one is also stamped by the Kenya Airports Authority, and they're not here. The other one by GMR is not received by any entity. So I would suggest for these ones, because we can always invite the KAA again and again to appear before us. You know, they were here, and I wish you had produced this one.
Can I get a clarification from you?
Yes.
You know, when the CS was responding, you remember the document that I referred to him, a letter forwarding the PIP. It actually originated from the PS of transport. And his answer, you can play back the answer, was that KAA is domiciled at the ministry. So that if a letter has been sent to KAA, it is with the ministry. That's what he said.
Yes, and that's what I'm trying to guide.
He cannot run away when it is inconvenient and say we have not seen it.
And Chair, because I'm saying that what is not there in those letters?
No. I just want you to understand. Yes. Because I don't want us to just discuss something that is away from the purview. What I'm trying to say is,
this is evidence.
Listen, we have admitted this to the committee.
Thank you.
We have them.
So but I'm saying that it's an acceptable,
but I'm
that's
saying,
evidence.
No, we have admitted them. But what I'm trying to say, and that is what the CA is saying, I'm just trying to guide you so that the relevant questions go to the right people. Because the letter has been received.
On my knees, I ask you,
yes,
who do you want me to question?
Listen, I'm guiding you. It is received by KAA. KAA is domiciled at the Transportation Department. We have the Treasury here, and we have the PPP. It's good to be fair to the CS, so that they answer the right questions. Your question, nothing stops this committee from inviting the KAA again and the PS Transport to come and answer on this. So we admit this, and then we admit this.
Excuse me, Chair. The reason why we called my brother John Mbadi to come here is because the Minister of Transport had already lied under oath. He said there were no letters. So we have the letters, we are tabling them, Chair. Please, Chair. South Kenyans will respect you for many years. The reason why those letters are there is because we must interrogate how did Adani come to Kenya and how did they start what they are doing.
And I agree with you.
And I've not asked you about Adani with Ketrako, Adani with Chief, and I've not gone there.
And I agree with you.
How did one company take 7 state corporations and is running roughshod over everybody, and every government officer who's coming here is defending them and not giving us answers at how it happened? That is why this committee is here today.
To help Senator Onyonka, I think what has been demonstrated by those letters is that not every PIP proposal or communication on the development of Jkia left Kenya Airports Authority.
Yeah.
So the ministry can confirm, at least the PPP secretariat is here and the Ministry of Treasury is here. Let them confirm that the only communication that has come from the procuring entity called KAA is with regards to Adani. So that we draw our own conclusions during report writing that there is somebody at KAA who determines what to forward for evaluation by PPP and which ones do not go to.
You've got my point.
That's all they need to confirm.
Yes.
Let them confirm.
Yeah. Chair, maybe my presentation was too long. But let me again repeat. The only PIP proposal received procedurally at the directorate was the one of Adani of 1st March. In fact, I even mentioned there was an earlier one of 2023. It was not procedurally brought to our attention. We have only come to know about other expressions of interest through a letter. There's no other proposal. And if there is, and by the way, the law is clear, you go to the contracting authority with PIP. But I want to ask Chris, there is is no information, as far as I'm concerned, Chairman, that we are holding. And that is why we have documented all the other expressions of interest from 2023 to date. And we are not gatekeeping for anyone. I have no reason to gatekeep. So I would want to ask Chris, please again inform this committee whether you are aware of shareholding of Adani, whether Prime Minister Modi has 58% of shares, or 68 or 100, and this one from UAE. With your permission, Chair, could I ask General?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, members. Let me start with the question about the earlier question. Yes, the PPP Directorate had one representative who went to India for the due diligence exercise, which is not yet concluded.
Chair, could I stop him right now? Allow him to finish because of point of information, Senator. Allow him to finish.
Okay. That's on this Adani proposition. Secondly, matters of corruption and matters of the history of Adani. Adani did make a formal submission which was notarized by the attorneys. We gave a confirmation about corrupt practices, and also as a treasury, we did look at the World Bank bad list, and we confirmed at the evaluation stage they were not on that list. Honorable Chair, we also confirmed this morning that they were still not on that list. That's Adani Airport Holdings. So we do confirm that. Chair, there's also a matter that has come in about the documents received by on the airport concession. Chair, I'd like to confirm a few things. We did see, I've seen the document that the honorable member has indicated, the one from they're called GT, I think GTR. GMR, yeah. Yeah, so I confirm this. We were not in copy of those that document. That document was never sent to us as the Treasury. We've also seen the document, the only document that came to us is a PIP proposal that was sent to us on the 1st of March 2024 and the one of April 2023. The one of April 2023, we were only in copy. I submit.
So, yeah, so your question is answered, Senator Sifuna, on the issue KAA chooses what to forward or not to forward. That is something that as a committee we have to discuss in our next meeting, but you can ask your questions.
Chair, thank you, Chair. There's just one item, just one small item. The matter on the letter that we saw from the GMR proposal, we actually saw it on social media. We did not see it based on a formal submission. I submit.
Chair, for just a second, I want him to produce to this committee the delivery books and all the delivery books which they received during that period, so that we can run through and make sure that that letter was actually delivered. And the next action, which didn't take place here, is that once they got those letters and they had picked on Adani, they decided to ignore everybody else who had an interest and picked one horse, and that's what they're running with. Thank you, Chair. And I would like him to explain what they actually did in India. You remember I asked the question? It's something I know, Chair, a little bit. I'll say it later.
Chair, there was also no response on the question of the shareholding of the company. So let's not move to Senator Cherargei before that is answered, because you will remember when we were taking you through the documents, I asked the question whether the nexus between Adani and the Abu Dhabi consortium has now been established, and you have a response on record. I'm just reminding you as you deal with the question of shareholding.
Chair, can I just repeat again, because it should be very clear. What is the role of National Treasury in all this? It's Directorate, the PPP Directorate. Have we received any other PIP proposal on JKIA apart from Adani? The answer is no. To repeat on record, no. If there is any document you have there, to the Directorate, I want to be very clear as to whether anybody from Treasury alongside representation from KAA and and that is the assignment they were given, and that process is still ongoing.
The issue of shareholding.
Chris Krieger can respond. Actually, I asked you specifically to talk about any information you have about the shareholding of Adani.
Shares were owned by Adani Enterprise Limited. They were Mr. Pravan Adani, who owned Pritesh Shah, 1 share, Kruthath Thaka, 1 share, Sai, 1 share, and Ashish Shah, 1 share, which holds a total of 350,250,000. This is what was submitted to us, Chair, during the evaluation stage. This was a notarized document provided by Kenya Airports Authority, by Adani. Through Kenya Airports Authority. I submit.
All right.
So there is an independent way surely. You cannot rely on the entity declaration. There exists mechanism of independent ascertainment. Has that been done? And then DG is aware that they had proposed that in the first 2 years after effective date, that they should be allowed to change shareholding. It is there in the proposal. Honestly, what are we doing?
And Chair, I will not tire from repeating. That's why I'm saying we have 2 levels of due diligence. The detailed due diligence, where you will get all those facts, and it is good it is not being conducted now and not then, because then you would be very clear on the shareholding of this entity. Why can't we just allow the process to conclude? The process is ongoing. Section 27, Honorable Sifuna, being a lawyer, I know you are very strict to legal provisions. I have mentioned 2 sections, Section 41 and 27. 41 is due diligence at that high level. There is Section 27. The process is on.
Honorable Mbadi, you and I agreed a long time that when it comes to matters of finance, I will not question your judgment. I wish you remember that you also gave me undertaking that when it comes to law, you will defer to my knowledge on the law. Honorable Mbadi, I know these days you don't attend social functions, but surely if your son tells you they want to marry somebody, the first thing you will do is to find out which family that person comes from. Who's the mother of this child? Who's the father of this child? Will be auditing that ownership after the marriage has already been consummated and you find your son has married from a rich doctor's family. Surely.
Chair, and I agree. And by the way, that was an agreement some time back when we used to lead a very serious party together. But let me just put it this way, that I respect Sifuna in matters law. He respects me in matters finance. The predicament we find ourselves in is we are dealing with a mongrel of both law and finance. In that case, we just need to respect each other and guide each other systematically. Let me put it this way. Now, if you want now to go to the details and audit and the actual ownership, verify, then you move to the next level, where we are. Section.
Before I give a friend of the committee, I have a member of the committee who wants to ask a question. So let me things are changing very fast. Vice Chair. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I served with Honorable Mbadi in the National Assembly for 10 years, and I know him as a man who will not allow the law to be circumvented by any way or any other process that is of public interest. Chair, I would ask the CS this. Now that, from what has been tabled, at least I have seen one letter, the one by a company called Nexus something, that one was received by KAA. And now that there is evidence that there was no full disclosure by the contracting authority, that is KAA, are you then, as Treasury and the PPP Directorate, ready to open up this process for competitive bidding? Now that it's not only Adani that has shown interest in this whole thing, considering the issues that have already been raised about Adani, that is one. Chair, I also needed to know, where are we in this process, or what stage at the moment? And Chair, also knowing CS Mbadi very well, that he's a man who will only do what will be of value to Kenyans, that there will be value for money. I'm sure you are, undertaking, a process to know that there are other interested parties who will do the Jkia airport on less money than what is being offered by Adani. One of the examples I will give you is that Qatar Airways at the moment is building a more sophisticated international airport at Rwanda with a 5-star hotel for less than half of the money that Adani is asking for. Would we not consider such other offers or such other groups that may give us value for our money? Thank you.
Full disclosure. You see, on what methods of procurement to use, Treasury's role is just to guide. It's supposed to be the contracting authority, because again, if we give too much directives to the contracting authority, I would again be here for interfering with the process. So we guide the contracting authority, in this case, KAA. And policy direction is from the State Department for Transport. So I want again be clear there that the policy direction will be given or is given by Transport. In terms of where we are with this process, we are at due diligence stage still. When I documented the steps that have been taken. So we are at the due diligence where all the issues that are of concern to the people, including public participation, if it were not for the court process, would still be ongoing as we speak. So there you can easily pick out issues of concern. Now, as to whether there is another provider, you see, this process has not concluded. I want to come back to that again. In fact, it will only conclude when the matter goes to the cabinet, where I sit, and the Attorney General also must give authority. So this process is still going on. And when it reaches a point where we now have to make a decision presented with facts on value for money, I am sure we'll engage our minds properly to it. But I also know, because I've also heard, and I had to inquire, that there could be another interest even after Adani. I have no evidence, no documents, that there could be another interest. But then the assurance I'm given is that there is nothing that stops even from initiating another process or PIP. Even if it is a Qatar Airways, they can still initiate it now. And the only provision in law is that if that is concluded and it is better than the Adani one, then they will compensate Adani. That is what is provided in law, and to the extent that that compensation is needed to be done. So I think, if you ask me, that this process is still at some stage where I think many of us are rushing to a conclusion that is concluded. concluded. Whether it is concluded in some people's minds, I don't know, because I can't open people's minds and hearts. But what I know is in terms of process and procedure, it is not. It has not come to the cabinet. The Attorney General has not approved it. So why are we concluding that it is concluded? For me, it is not concluded. Till it will be concluded.
Sure.
All right, and just to ride on what Vice Chair asked, when we are told to provide justification why the project is not suitable for open competitive procurement, in your response, you indicated time. And that is on the document that is on PPP Committee Technical Working Paper. They say the reason why is immediate need to develop the airport. It looks like an emergency. But now that you have heard there are other people who are interested, of which you are going to call KAA to come to this committee and say why they never forwarded this PIP. They only chose to forward the Adani one.
You see, Chair, that comment is actually from KAA, the contracting authority. It's not from Treasury. And it is the contracting authority which has made that observation of time. This committee to guide, the PPP committee. But I also want to say this, Chair. Truth be told, our airport needs to be developed. We have complaints about the leaking roofs. We have complained about power. As to whether this PIP was the right thing to do for the contracting authority to address. But what I know is PIP is provided in law. And as far as where it has reached, I have no reason as CS National Treasury of the Republic of Kenya to fault any process. The process is still ongoing. So far, I have no reasons to doubt the work that has been done by both the directorate, the committee, and even the contracting authority. So whether this should be stopped is not a decision I would sit here as CS, and that is why we have independent PPP committee to deal with that, the directorate to guide, the contracting authority. If I now come here as CS Fernandez say they should stop on what grounds?
But you sit at the cabinet and you're going to discuss it there. Would you give such an opinion?
Of course, if it comes to the cabinet, I will deal with it there. And you see, whatever we'll discuss in the cabinet will remain in the cabinet.
Senator Chute.
Yeah, maybe before you get Senator Chute.
What it means. I don't know what it means because I have seen dispatches from cabinet when you have meetings. Why are you saying this one will remain there? Because after cabinet meetings, I usually see something called a dispatch from cabinet on the things that we have discussed. Honorable Mbadi, we live in a country of transparency. If it is a matter affecting all of us, you cannot say as CS that it will remain there. That airport does not belong to cabinet. It belongs to all the 55 million of us. And as the house that oversights executive, I think you should withdraw that statement, Honorable CS.
The recommendations, Honorable Sufan and I, up to recently, I've not had the luxury of being in the cabinet. And I've just been in the cabinet for a few weeks, but this is the information.
So you need some interaction.
This is the information I would supply. That communication from the cabinet will come officially. Whatever is discussed in the cabinet is not for public consumption, but what the outcome, the decision is of the cabinet will be communicated. Whoever disagrees and agrees, we will never know. And I'm not at liberty to give my opinion here because then it will be said that Mbadi was overruled. So let me go to the cabinet and engage my mind at the cabinet. Then when the communication comes, you should know it is a collective responsibility, which now I cannot run away from, even if I had a different opinion.
Okay, CS. Vice Chair, quick 1 minute.
Yeah.
Just 1 minute.
Chair, I just needed to put the record straight that the CS should also know that we in this committee or in the Senate are not opposed to the improvements in maintenance and even enlargement of development at the airport. We are not opposed to that. Neither are we opposed to the BOT, the build, operate and transfer method. We only want Kenyans to get value for money. We want the best to be given to do the job at the airport.
Yeah, that's setting the record straight.
Chair, I want to ask a supplementary question on what the CS has commented. CS, if you ask to visit your office, there are these 4 methods of procurement, and you have been approved for advisory because the PIP proposal was brought to Treasury. And then also there are 3 other methods which are acceptable in law that can be followed. Is it possible for you as CS Treasury to guide that because of the nature of this project, let us avoid the PIP and go to competitive bidding, also noting that this project has brought a lot of public outcry. So at your level now where we are, is it possible to advise or to guide that let us stop the PIP because it was brought only by Adani, and then we open it to competitive bidding, so that also we can get an opportunity also to make sure that Adani also competes with other stakeholders who might be interested in the project.
Gracias.
Chair, I only want to request that I'm not wished to step outside the law. The public-private partnerships procurement methods are outlined in law. A contracting authority may procure public-private partnership project under this act through A, direct procurement, B, privately initiated proposals, or C, competitive bidding, and D, restricted bidding. So either one of these can be picked and executed, so long as it is executed within the law, there will be no problem. So if it is pointed out to me clearly that there is a violation of the law, I would guide otherwise. As to whether there are other PIPs, I'm yet to see. What I have seen here are letters, written, expression of interest. You know, even me, I can write to KAA and express my interest that I want to develop the airport. It doesn't have to proceed to PIP because there are conditions, there are things you have to fulfill. So if it is proved that there are some proposals that went to KAA, proposals, not expression of interest, and KAA did not act, then KAA needs to respond to Kenyans and tell us what happened. As far as I'm concerned, I want to repeat, Treasury is not in receipt of any other PIP apart from the one by
My question, Chair, is very simple. Whether as custodian of our Treasury, is it possible to guide the government where you see it, the presidency? Is it possible to guide that this method is not the best, let us go to competitive bidding? Is it possible to guide at that level where we are today?
And again, Banasia, as you said in your response, you actually quoted section 40, subsection 2 of the PPP Act, saying that the project should be delivered at a fair market price. How would you know a fair market price if it is not competitive?
that is provided under PIP. You know, we are mixing 2 procurement methods, Chair. You cannot have PIP and have competitive bidding. It's not practical. So under PIP, to determine that, you do due diligence, technical evaluation. And that is the process.
Like we are talking about Banasias, is the justification why the project is not suitable for competitive procurement. That is where we are.
You know, the assumption here is that procurement, competitive bidding is superior to PIP. And I'm not seeing that in law. Can someone point out to me in this act?
Well, it says a law. It's a law that says, the one you are holding,
this law,
that you have to give justification why it is not suitable for open competitive procurement, not direct. So the one that is superior actually from that line is open competitive procurement, because you only need to give justification why you are not using that. So it must be the one that is superior.
And that is required for KAA to state. And they have stated, you can agree with it, you can.
We want you to guide them. That is a question.
You see,
whether you want to guide them.
Chair, let's allow the technical evaluation to proceed. Once it is done, this process will even come to the cabinet. It will go to the Attorney General. All these legal provisions, the Attorney General has capacity to even advise.
I would like to inform the Cabinet Secretary that competitive procurement under the law is superior to PIP. That is why under section 40 clause 3 paragraph J, you are required to give a justification why you can't use competitive bidding, because that's the default procurement standard. You are supposed to justify why you can't use competitive bidding. So I'd like to inform you that competitive bidding is superior and the default position in procurement. So when you want to deviate from that, you must justify. Of all the procurement methods you have given, the law does not require you to say why you can't use direct procurement, why you can't use whatever request or proposal. It requires you to state why you can't use competitive bidding. Because even in Article 227 of the Constitution, clause 1, you have to procure in a competitive manner. So, competitive procurement is the most ideal, is the superior. These others are deviations and they are ring-fenced. You must justify why you are deviating from the standard or the default position. That's why the law requires that justification. So it's a superior method of procurement. That's the information I had to share. Chair, thank you.
Actually, before you convince the Attorney General to sign the concession, you have to prove that you have complied with the law. And so that will be complied with. We are at a stage where we are still processing this transaction. It has not reached the level where now you can hold a contracting authority or anybody for failure to perform what is supposed to be performed still.
Okay, let's have you see Senator Fernandez has been raising his hand. Let me just give him 3 minutes. He has, for the last 30 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, thank you. Waziri, relax. I'll ask Dangaten-like questions. That is very simple. I'll not complicate your life. So relax and sit. Thank you. Chair, through the Chair, Waziri,
are you using a microphone?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Am I audible enough? Thank you, Chair. Waziri and DG, are you aware that Adani company, and I will request that you write down so that you respond once and for all. Are you aware that Adani group of companies have any affiliates in the country? Number one. Number two, there is a report by a consultancy company of America called Eidenberg Consultancy Company Limited. In the last 2 years, they uncovered tax manipulation and other illegal things that made Adani group of companies lose $100 billion. Are you aware of such? And the reason one of Swiss authorities where allegations were facing Adani company that the account in Switzerland of 310 million have been frozen. Number three, in your Annex B, you are presented on the issue of work visa. That area, Waziri, is grey. What will be the fate of Kenya Airports Authority employees who were just demonstrating the other day over their worry and the fate of their work related. And it is not clear who should Adani come with, because the issue of expatriates, the issue of qualification and what have you. Number 4, there is a tunnel clause of 18% at the end of 30 years concession, period of 30 years, that there is a tunnel clause of 18%. Does it mean after 30 years, Adani will continue owning Jkia, our airport, with a stake of 18% forever until Jesus comes back? Number 5, I have letters here, and I don't know whether DG, you are aware, there are many letters from MPS Nyakera on developing Konsa Airport. Are there any PIPs on that matter? The 6th, Chair, I have seen most of the correspondence have the former Minister of Roads, Kipchumba Murkomen, there is a former MDK Alex Kitari, and former CS of National Treasury, CS Mbungu. Is it possible to invite them to the committee to share more light, because it looks Waziri Mbadi is shooting in the dark? Is it possible to have them, including what was happening in Dubai, under the guise of other things? So is it possible, so that we can get the correct fashion? Let us have, and I want to advise CS Mbadi, we know you just came the other day, don't carry anybody's cross. If this thing is cray, call it as it is. Run away from where you come from, and your SG is here. It is good to stand with the truth and the transparency. So if the other people messed in office, don't carry any other. Then the 6th question, I have seen the letter in Annex 5, Annex F, sorry, that was addressed to PS Dagar, and they are saying the JKA land will be provided by KA. I thought all land below is managed on behalf of National County to National Land Commission. You need to clarify that. On the issue of fixed exclusive concession fee, is about 47 million, and in fact per annum, and they are saying they will adjust 10% based on inflation. Do you think this is expensive for the country? And finally, Chair, on the feasibility report that was done by KA to Adani, in your own opinion as an auditor, was this an insider trading, or let me, for lack of a better word, that was being used to try and perpetuate, in conclusion, Chair, to try and perpetuate giving state capture, giving upper hand to Adani group of companies that is running everybody, is running Chief, is running now Tetraco, is running our airports. Who knows, they may come and run our wives and our children if we are not careful with this Adani group of companies. So, Chair, I request CS Mbadi, tell the country the truth. Every Kenyan, from even Suba to Nandi, would really want to know your position on this matter. And I want to say, with exception, Chair, when you took an oath of office to protect the rule of law and the Constitution, you cannot be part of an illegality. It is also your responsibility to advise the government on the rule of law and the truth, Chair. So, Chair, on this issue of Adani, I would have expected a lot from, and that is why your former colleagues in the other side of the aisle do not believe who you are, because we wanted you to tell us the truth as it should be. So please run away from this one. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, whether Adani has affiliations locally, I have no idea. I think I will not allow my DG, who has interacted with this a lot, to tell us if he's aware of any affiliation, local affiliations, though there is nothing really wrong with having local affiliates, if you ask me, if it is procedurally done and made public. American concerned on making allegations, I have
processing there. With who and why? On this 100 billion Bwana CS, it is on record in the Indian stock market, the SEBI, which is stock exchange market of India, has investigated this gentleman and found out of tax manipulation and others, it is on record, is $100 billion. So it's not allegations.
So Chair, let me again repeat what I said. We have a process that is ongoing to date. A very extensive technical evaluation. If all the facts that Senator Jkia is bringing forth is accurate, that will be found out. It will be discovered. I want to be on record from the information I have. My DG has not traveled to India on this matter. There is an officer from the directorate, but it's not him. Now, let's talk about the workers.
Yeah, if DG is or not, why is the CS answering on behalf of the DG and the DG just confirmed?
But Chair, he said
he's also an oath, so he
said he's going to give him an opportunity, so allow the CS to file the first.
Chair, actually I wanted to raise that from the beginning.
But you are with us in Parliament, how would you know he had not traveled?
That the letter, you see, I've come to answer questions on behalf of the National Treasury.
I will.
And Chair, I would want to just request that that is respected.
CS Mbadi,
can I just
Senator Choi,
you know CS time to
allow the CS.
No, the deputies realize you know resources. You are in charge.
Allow the CS to express himself.
But I'm saying on issue, if you want to find out if you came from Kiambu today, should we ask your vice chair? You are the one who can answer. Yes.
But you see, Chair,
there is a reason. Chair, and we are not asking that question in vain, whether the DG traveled to India or not. We will take on a hard-shaking evidence and passports and passes.
The DG will answer after the CS is done.
But Chair, can I also mention, and I wanted to say it earlier, that you ruled, and I respected, that the letter to Treasury was inviting the CS. The others was to accompany me. If you look at that letter, in fact, even putting the digit under oath, the letter I have, and I want to repeat, dated 18th, was addressed to the CS, and in that letter I was asked to come with my PS, to come with the DG, and to come with other members of the committee. So, I am the witness.
Yeah, but nothing stops this.
That is why he will, and I say it, he is here, he will tell you. I have just responded that the officer who came from the Treasury to India for this due diligence was not the DG. If the DG went to India,
can you table the evidence of that officer? Thank you, Chair. As a procedure of Parliament, can you table the details on the date and time and the hotels he slept with? Other stories we don't want, just the official ones. We know there are many unofficial ones.
Chair, again, that's information.
No, you answer me through the chair.
Senator, you are not answering the chair. Chair.
Yes.
A public officer traveling using public resources can never be secret. If you want to get information from who?
Through you, Chair. You know, Chair Jkia asked about 8 questions, and we have not even had that.
Through you, Chair.
Can we have the 7 questions?
100%, but the CS is wasting time. The reason is very simple. Even the people who went to India and the flights they took are known. So don't go that route. You talk about, do you want this thing to continue or not? That's what
with due respect,
yes.
I am supplying information. Let me supply it. If you have your information, then don't ask me. If you don't want me to say what I know,
let's have the CS. I won't entertain.
I am giving you the information I have.
I won't entertain.
The information I have is that there is a team.
Do you have the DG's passport for us to see whether it travel or not?
Senator
Chair, can we be in control of this meeting?
I will switch off your microphone. I will switch off your microphone. Allow the CS to answer so that Senator Chute can also ask questions. Let's not waste time with interjections that are not necessary. Give him 2 minutes. Senator Chute, I'll give you a minute after he answers the question. Otherwise, why are we asking the questions if we cannot allow the CS to answer them? So kindly give him time to answer the questions. When I see yes, go direct to the question.
I want to say the officer, if you want the information of the officer who was sent to India from the National Treasury or the Directorate, we can provide it.
Next question.
On the staff, the staff, it is clear, it was clearly spelled by the committee that all the staff of Jkia will transit. So that is there in the report. So I don't see why that should be a problem. On the issue of 18% up to 30 years, I'll ask Kirigwa to respond. PIPs for Consul airports, again, Kirigwa, you can tell us if there is anything to that effect. Correspondence with various CSS, and I've been told not to carry anybody's cross. I am not carrying anybody's cross, Senator Cherabey, through the chair. I have no reason to. And by the way, what I'm giving you are facts. I am the CS National Treasury. When a matter like this comes up, what I do is to get the information. I have looked for this information. I have supplied the information which we have. Any other information that is flying out there, I don't have it. Jkia land will be provided by KAA, and you say that is not procedural. This is what the report captures, the report of the committee. Land acquisition or allocation should be aligned with the Kenyatta International Airport master plan and subject to availability of land and requisite approvals, in bracket KAA boards, National Land Commission, other relevant government agencies, which would include the person who is in custody of the title deeds. And that is where my office is. Noting that KAA has existing leases on land with third parties. So I think I've addressed that one. Feasibility reports. The info I have, the feasibility study was done by Adani. And
transited to Adani. Because, is that what he said? Yes. Because, Chair, I remember when I was asking questions about the percentage of employees that Adani wants to take up, the CS told his committee that he didn't know. I don't know if that figure has now been supplied now and he's saying 100%. CS Mbadi, you have given two answers to me and I'm confused. What is the position?
Can I repeat?
Yes.
And I said it. In fact, if you listen to my written submission, what I told you that I'm not aware of is whether in the proposal of Adani, it specified that they will only take a percentage. And I said I need to check whether they stated that. But the report of the committee, and I beg that you allow Honorable Sifuna to focus on me so that he can...
I am very focused.
The report of the committee is very clear. 100%. In fact, the committee has recommended that before this matter progresses further, that Adani must ensure and commit and confirm, and I want to repeat it. I want to repeat the report. The PPP committee also directed that the following should be addressed in the concession agreement. It is page 12 of my submission. D, that the contracting authority, Kenya Airports Authority, should ensure that current employees of Jkia are onboarded by the concessionaire on priority basis and on better terms. Further, that the concessionaire gives preference to recruitment of Kenyan nationals in all positions. So I'm not giving two answers. The answer that I gave you about not knowing the percentage is when you asked me that Adani had proposed a percentage. I said you are confirming as a CS for National Treasury, you have not read the proposal from Adani. You don't know what is in there. You don't know, let me tell you, Chair. I really even don't need to read the proposal of Adani.
Can you say that on the
Actually, the CS Treasury has very limited role. The only thing I am doing is to look at the procedure, how it is followed. And my directorate has looked into this matter, has found gray areas, including that issue of staff. And the committee, the PPP committee, has made a recommendation which should be binding. Then what is the problem?
At the very least, yes. My expectation, if you want to forgive me, Honorable Mbadi, for holding you in very high regard. But you know why? There is no way somebody comes knocking at their door. You don't even find out what this person wants, what they are saying, who they are, where they've come from. At the very minimum, you must know what is contained in the proposal so that you are able to answer these questions. It is clear in that proposal from Adani that it is not everyone they intend to absorb. So you are saying what we should do. You are saying what we should do. We should push them so that they take everybody up. But at the very minimum, as a person responsible for your docket, you should know what they are asking for.
Yeah, and Chair, we said, Banasias, from that section D you have just read, that the Jkia employees will be onboarded on priority basis. You know that word, on priority basis? You know, they might not even have priority, but I don't know what it means.
Chair, let me remind this committee of the position that was taken by the CS for transport. You know, part of the problem we have been told about this Kenya Kwanza government is that there is no clarity in communication. The CS government, Kenya Kwanza government, Honorable Chair,
Chair, it's bread-based.
Stop distracting me. The CS for transport told us that as far as the employees for the airport are, and because you are not here, let me brief you. Mambo ni matatu. You will either take a contract with Adani or choose to remain with KA, but you cannot work at Kenyatta International Airport. They can send you to Malindi, or you quit and you take a package of what is it called, a golden parachute package. So Honorable CS Mbadi, this is why we are insisting that even though we know the oath of secrecy in the conversations at cabinet, what we want is coherence in communication of government policy and the position. So which one are we supposed to take? The CS Treasury or the CS Transport?
And also the CS Transport told us that if we cancel this deal, we are not going to lose any money. But you mentioned we are going to lose money.
Where we are, there is no deal. Which deal are we talking about? As far as I'm concerned, there is no deal. This is a process. And so there is nothing we are going to lose. We will just return the money.
Yes, which money?
Let me just put it.
Why don't you recommend to be cancelled? Leave it. Walk away from it.
Let me just put this.
It works like a duck. This is skunk.
Why are you rooting for Qatar? Yes.
No, I'm not saying Qatar. No, Chair, I have not that is get one even from Uganda. I also get one from Uganda.
You can get one from Ethiopia.
Yes. That they are corruption. We don't want Qatar.
Yeah, we don't know even where I just respond to this.
Let's have this.
Yes, we do. I think this is getting better.
Chair, employees.
You withdraw fast.
What?
For saying we are loading for Qatar, you didn't listen to
No, I almost asked the same question.
Yes.
So I almost asked that question because I don't know why we are throwing names here and others. So just give your response.
Chair, let's temperatures or tries. Let me come back to it. The issue of employees. There is no inconsistency, Chair. You cannot take all the employees of the KAA to work if they don't want to work. That is why it is said they will be onboarded on priority basis. And then, if you look at this document we call heads of terms, it is very clear that during the interim management period, the JKIA employees will remain employed by the grantor. the concessionaire will make an offer to the existing employees on terms that are no less favorable to their existing terms of employment. In fact, this provision of the law,
Have you done some public
is even clear.
hearings for you to say that?
Public hearing.
Public participation?
Will I address that?
Yes.
You know, Chair, I have said the committee recommended public engagement. It is in my response. It is a process that is ongoing now. Yeah?
Chair.
If it were not for the stoppage by the courts,
Excuse me, Chair. Employees of Kenya Airports Authority were forced to go and hold a meeting under gunpoint. Being told by these people to go and sign documents.
Chair, that's the same way. That's the same way when the senators get agitated when you make wild allegations. Please.
They are not one. We have the evidence. They can table affidavits in this committee. They are not one. Mbadi. I don't know a child who works at the airport.
I also
That's why your people being kicked out.
Senator calm down.
Chair, I doubt whether this country...
Calm down.
Chair, I wonder...
No. It's because I've given everybody an opportunity. You cannot shout back at each other. I'm giving everybody an opportunity to express themselves. So can you finish? If you have an additional question, you ask. So,
Chair, people are being fired from work. Look at those workers. Go and see them when you're traveling.
Chair, point of order. Can I have
That's what we are doing to this country.
for the chair?
Chair, kindly invoke standing order 105.
Yes, please. I'll get there. When you give your statement, it must be a statement of fact. I don't want you to use this committee to get video and viral clips so that you can supply them all over. What I'm trying to say, no. Chairman, we elected you to be our chair.
Is that what you do? Isn't that what you do? That's what you do when you're fighting Mamatangi.
I'm telling you, out of order.
Like you.
Senator
It's a national matter. Mutembei should be removed in that chair. This is what talk to us.
have been chairs. This is not a TV interview.
We cannot say that.
If you disrespect,
just
say so.
And I chaired the
If you disrespect the chair, I'm going to invoke every other standing orders that will make sure that you align. Let's have Mtata. Kindly, don't use this committee to come.
No.
I have to cannot do that because there's a bill coming.
Cannot say that the bills which have made our country become ungovernable.
Let's have Senator Mtata.
Senator Mutembei, with respect.
Let's have Senator Mtata. No, I'm the chair, not Mtata.
But chair,
Let's have Senator Mtata. I'll give you an opportunity.
Yes, please.
I'll give you an opportunity.
Let's all proceed in that fashion.
I've been giving you some time. Can I have Senator Mtata to ask his question?
Chair, you know it's impeachment season. Please don't.
It doesn't matter. I will stick with this. I will stick with the study orders. I will stick with the study orders. Let's have Senator Mtata. Senator Mtata.
Honorable Chair, thank you for the opportunity. And I want to begin by saying that Honorable Waziri, also thank you for giving us a well-paginated and arranged documents. I must appreciate that. It has been easy to follow your documents. I only wanted to refer you to Exhibit BB and CC. Those are drafts of the LG reports, and if you look at Exhibit BB, it really has got no value. It just has an index, just a list of indexes. But when your brother Honorable Churchill was here, he brought us final reports of that study. So I don't understand why you brought us drafts when your brother brought us final copies of the reports, on which I had wanted to ask you questions, but you brought drafts that are not really applicable. So
I would be asking, I've got two documents I'd like to table here, which I would ask I will copy that with the clerk. There is a dispatch from the cabinet, that's issue number 8 of 2024, and there is an affidavit that was filed by Adani in High Court Judicial Review case number E199 of 2024. And I would like the minister, I'll refer the minister to that document. But before I get there, there's this letter that was given that came from the State Department of Transport, dated 1st March 2024. It's a small detail that is really disturbing me. The letter is dated 1st March 2024. It's coming from the Department of Transport. You have told us here that the KAA received a document. It went through the document, found it suitable, gave it to the department to forward here. Now when you look at the Adani proposal, it is dated March 2024. This letter is dated 1st of March 2024. Did the KAA receive a document that had not been authored? Well, I'm finding it extremely difficult, even assuming that the document is dated 1st of March. I'm finding it extremely difficult that a document dated March had moved from the Kenya Airports Authority, had been received there, had moved from the Kenya Airports Authority to the Department of Transport, and then it had been submitted to Treasury on the 1st of March by that letter. Whether we are dealing with fiction or something is not adding up. So to clarify that, you say that upon presentation of the proposal, $50,000 was paid. Can I have the receipt of that money so that I can confirm the day when Adani made the proposal? I've checked your documents, I don't see that receipt. I would like to be assured of the date.
Another question?
Yeah, no, I just want that to be clarified, because that looks like fiction, so we'll clarify that. And as we go ahead, I would like to put to the CS that the requirement for due diligence is not in two stages. Section 25, Section 27, and Section 40, Clause 2 and Clause 3 have to be read together. You cannot have two reports of due diligence. It's your creation to try and justify an excess. There is no provision in the law for two stages of due diligence. The two sections have to be read together. Otherwise, I don't know what we shall be doing. So to me, it's only one due diligence that should be done from my reading of the law. The first one is a general provision of due diligence, the one under 27. The one under 25, under 40, is specific, and it's just to make sure that you don't miss that within this particular process. So I don't see how you are reading the law to get that you can do two stages of due diligence. Another question that I have is on in this, when we look at the item we have brought in as the Adani, which is also what the proposal, that is exhibit under H and I. I would like to walk you through that document by the Adani group. And one of the questions is, I want you to show me where in that document Adani is giving Kenya even 1 cent. And whether Adani is an agent of the government of Kenya or an investor, or whether Adani is a broker who is looking for investors and whether you are walking the same route we walked to the SGR, where it proposed that you was going to help the money, then it said you were going to look for investors, then at the end of the day, we ended up with something called government to government through the Exim Bank of China. So I want you to show me in this document that you brought where Adani is giving Kenya 1 cent. Forget about the billions you're talking about. Or whether Adani is presenting itself as an agent of the government of Kenya to put together a consortium of financiers. Also, as we go, I want to refer you to, I've looked at this document, I didn't have much time, I've looked at the document. I want to refer you to page 5 of the document, and you will see my concern there. That's the third paragraph, the last line of the third paragraph. It says, the proposed project will be financially financed by Adani airports to cover short, medium and long-term goals through suitable debt and equity as highlighted in detail in this PIP. Now we begin going through the detail of the PIP. I think it's page, you go to page 37. I go to page 37. You look at the program called section 7.3, the special purpose vehicle. Under that flow chart, it rated Adani Airports intends to bring strategic/financial investors for proposed development of various aspects of Jkia master plan, including terminal, airside and landside. And it continues. When you go to paragraph 47, page 49, there's some, that's I think the first, second, third, the fourth paragraph is headed robust EPC contracting process. Bullet 1, we will implement value for money initiative with engineering, procurement and construction of this contract. We would prioritize reputable contractors with a track record in large infrastructure construction. We would tie payments to milestones and project completion, ensuring accountability. So, we talk of other contractors whom Adani will bring in. When we got the second bullet is equally important, but for time I'll read the third bullet. Strong supplier-contractor relationship in the realm of airport development. Our contracting process stands as a testament to our commitment to excellence. We meticulously engage with major contractors renowned for their expertise in large-scale airport infrastructure projects. Our approach prioritizes partnerships with reputable contractors, ensuring seamless collaboration and exceptional project outcomes. Payments are tied to project milestones and staff. We are repeating that. When we go to the next page, progress capital management, that's paragraph 23 on page 50. They talk of a proposed to negotiate favorable terms with lenders, including interest rates and repayment schedules, and leverage the airport revenue potential to source competitive financing terms. Next bullet, we propose to explore different financing options, including loans, bonds, etc., and consider the cost, terms, and flexibility of each financing method. We propose to structure debt in a way that aligns Jkia, whatever. So when we look at this, it's and there are many other places. So is Adani investing in Kenya, or is Adani doing a brokerage service for the Republic of Kenya? I would like to be enlightened on that. When you go to page 56, you look at something called direct agreement stroke substitution. It says Jkia, that's government of Kenya, to enter into direct stroke substitution agreement with the lenders. then they require land for free of encumbrance and what have you. You watch 56, and as you walk through, you look at something very interesting. On page 57, they are talking of change of laws. Jkia to enact or amend the existing Kenyan laws to the extent required for fulfillment of the terms of concession agreement to make the project bankable and ensuring the commitments made to the investor are met. So we are required to change our law to conform to the investor, or whatever that means. So I want you to explain to me what that means. And as we go through, I want to point you out to another issue that I found disturbing. There's KAA on page 56. KAA to issue sublease to concessionaire of land for the purpose of development of commercial real estate. What has a commercial real estate to do with a construction of an airport? And then of course the next one also talking about transferring those licenses. So when you come to the work visa, it says government of Kenya to assist to arrange work visa for skilled expatriates required for the execution and operation of the maintenance of the air project. And that is tied to another place whereby they have talked of the issue of employment which was coming up, whereby they clearly indicate that they are going to come in with their own workers. Then on page 59, paragraph 6, they talk about the overemployment to mutually agreed percentage of present KA employees. They are not taking one of them. There will be a mutually agreed percentage, terms and conditions recorded, and the concessionaire may employ itself on secondment or contract basis non-Kenyan employees. It's clearly stated there. If you look at number 9 again on page 60, Jkia to enter into direct substitution agreement with lenders. And now this document you did not bring, the one that the Minister Churchill brought us, and which is in the record of he brought us drafts by the Minister Churchill, brought us complete documents. If you look at the document that was titled dated 13 December, that is the ALG Global Infrastructure Advisors, whatever, agreement with the KAA, you find their terms of reference are given. And then when you go to that report, the final report, you gave us a draft final report for KAA review, February 16th, 2024. You gave us the draft, this is the final report. If you look at page 21, it gives a scope of what the project has done and how they have gone around this thing. But of interest in this particular project is page 28. It says, well, there is a unique development plan, that's financial assessment. Well, there is a unique development plan for Jkia. Two scenarios were evaluated as per the government request. Airport PPP and the terminals PPP. So it goes on, forward tells you that there is a development plan for the airport. And that brings me the question, what is Adani initiating when the government has got plans to develop the airport? What is Adani initiating? What is privately initiated in a going concern? Where is the initiation by Adani? Then as I proceed to examine just some minutes, when you go to page 30 of the document, key regulatory issues, legal, regulatory, and contractual due diligence. Says procurement, these are analysts now saying on procurement method. On procurement it says the regulatory framework applicable to PPPs in Kenya is generally clear and provides for sufficient flexibility in order to organize an open tender process compliant with the best international practices, brackets, which is the procurement method by default under the PPP regulations, and is our recommended approach. The preferred tender process is to be confirmed with the PPP, the KA, and the government. So the evaluator is recommending an open tender system to identify the procurement. And then the last issue is about the Director General. The Director General, from the information I have, I did some search on him, and the information I got is that he has been appointed as the Deputy Head of Mission in Washington, D.C. What is he still doing here, and what is he gatekeeping for? Why has he not gone to his new appointment, or has that appointment been cancelled? Number two, when we look at
Senator, summarize so that
I'm summarizing. I'm summarizing. When we got a lot of documents in a short time, so I would like to refer to ask the Director General. Did the evaluation committee conduct a mandatory market testing prior to deciding the suitable procurement method? Because you are required to prepare the market test. So did you do a market testing? And what is involved in a market testing that is required under PIP? When you got the heads of terms, which are essentially negotiated aspects of the PPP transaction, they have already been signed. When you look at that document, there are signatures of two people on every page. They have actually signed. I don't expect to have signatures on a draft document. They have actually signed. What does that mean? And then when you come further to, there's already a company that's privately, that has already been incorporated. And that is that affidavit I've given you. If you look at paragraph 9, the Adani group acknowledges that they have incorporated a company to deal with this program. And you know that under section 68, that company can only be incorporated after the agreement has been signed. So if you have a company that telling us the agreement has not been signed, are you operating outside the law, or are you operating within the law? Look at paragraph 9 of that affidavit and what it says. Finally, I would like, and the company is known as Infrastructure PLC. I've given at the end of that document that you have been supplied, at the back is the CR12 for the company, which indicates who the directors are. We have done the due diligence and been able to extract this from the registry of companies. So the company exists. So you cannot tell us, Your Honor, that the contract has not been signed when the procedure in law says that such a company is only incorporated after the contract agreement has been signed. Now the very last issue, another section 68 requires that. The very last issue is the question of the dispatch from the cabinet. When you look at the dispatch from the cabinet, you will find that it says that we need to conduct due diligence on this company. When I did some desktop research, I came across the case that is given on the third page. It was a case where this company, on the document I've circulated, where this company was accused of misconduct in India. And if you look at the conclusion on page 46 or 46 of that judgment, an order is given which reads, now therefore, and this is available on the desktop, and you search on the internet. Now therefore, in exercise of the power conferred upon me under section 11 and 11B, read with section 19 of the SEBI Act 1992, further read with SEBI, prohibition of fraudulent and unfair trade practice related to securities market, regulations 2003, hereby restrain the promoters of Adani, with Adani Agro Private Limited, Adani Impex Private Limited, Crown International, Shahi Property Developers Limited, Adani Properties Private Limited, Advanced Exports, Intercontinental India, from accessing the securities market either directly or indirectly, and also prohibit them from buying, selling, or otherwise dealing in securities in any manner whatsoever for a period of 2 years. The other conviction, therefore, corrupt conduct. So, and the stated 25th May 2025. Finally, if you look at the cabinet paper, I want to ask, how is the PPP sitting with the Kenya and the policy of the Kenya government? If you look at that cabinet paper on page 104, look at page 3, it starts to strengthen the aviation and to further cement Nairobi's position as an aviation hub, the aviation sector to Kenya's growth by enhancing connectivity at both the national and international levels. Cabinet noted that the aviation ecosystem in Kenya is robust, but pointed out that it was imperative to enhance the capacity of Kenya's international airports to meet the existing and projected demand, which is estimated to rise to 42.1 million passengers a year by the year 2050. Cabinet also considered and approved the Kenyatta International Medium-Term Investment Plan that includes the upgrade of the passenger terminal, runway, taxiway, apron, and air-slide facilities in keeping with the global aviation trends. Now, when you look at what the cabinet approved, and this thing was is dated 11th of June 2024. That's after the Adani proposal had come. You realize that the Adani proposal is totally outside the national policy in what is proposing to regard Jomo Kenyatta. So how do you reconcile that? And if you look at section 25.2 of the Act, section 25.2 of the Act, under the national agenda, only one new terminal at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport with an additional capacity of 20 million passengers and upgrading that to a permanent facility was planned. So, how did Adani, how do you meet the requirements in section 25 of the PPP Act, which requires that the proposal must be, the PPP proposal must be aligned with the national policy? When you see very clearly that the policy the cabinet approved on 11th June after Adani had submitted their proposal is totally smaller than what is in the proposal of Adani. So is Adani a government on its own, or is Adani going to obey the government of Kenya and what the government of Kenya has projected for Jomo Kenyatta? And are we really dealing with the PIP in these circumstances, or are we dealing with something else? So those are my questions to the minister, and the time was too short for us to interrogate these documents at a deeper level. That's what I was able to do in the 15 minutes the chair gave us, and maybe I may not have been very clear what I'm trying to say, but what I normally would like the minister to clarify so that we can see if we can move ahead, and also why this thing cannot be stopped when section he gave us, I think it was section 43 level, whereby you are required, if the thing is Ibonoko, you are required to call it off. And why you cannot call it off, given that a review by this committee is basically pointing to a situation whereby you are dealing with a fraud.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. You did your own research within the 15 minutes. That's very impressive. But yes, you have the opportunity.
Chair, the issue raised by Honorable Mutata, mouthful. I don't know whether it will be practical to answer all of them, but what I'll do is I'll answer the general ones and leave the specific ones to Chris Krigo, the DG of the Directorate, to address. Let me start by addressing, and I understand the frustration of members, Chair. Frustration of members is coming about because this process is still ongoing. If this process probably could have been complete, a lot of the issues being raised now would be answered with would get definite answers. And let me try to answer. On the issue of...
I would like to reject that approach because the law is very clear that the PPP proposal comes as a complete package. There are no stages for anything else. Just look at section 40. So the document is supposed to be so comprehensive. So you are trying to lead us outside the law when the law is very clear that the proponent, because if somebody proposing, he's saying that the money he wants to do something for you, so that he wants to grow his capital as you also benefit. So we cannot come in a system whereby again the government is investing in it and doing all that. We look at the proposal he has given us, and it's a single proposal, and the structures in the law are very clear. So my brother Mbadi, I think you are taking us to the law as it ought to be, the way Honorable Sfuna said, and not the law as it is. A PPP comes as a complete package under section 40. It has to be comprehensive.
And also, I was referring to the process. PIP proposal is the beginning of the process. So the process is still ongoing as we speak, and that is why we are even here to discuss whether it has been complied with in terms of evaluation and assessment. On 1st March 2024, we got a letter from the Line State Department of Transport forwarding the PIP proposal by Adani, which was received by KAA. That proposal is dated March. I would have only had issues if we received it on March 1st and it was dated April or May or any other day. Since the date was not in the document and it was indicated March, we can only conclude, the Directorate could only conclude that it was done on 1st of March and then the forwarding was also done the same day. On due diligence, I want to persuade the Senator to see Senator Mutata I know he was entitled to his own interpretation, but I want to persuade him to agree with me that there are two due diligence that have to be conducted. The first one is under section 41, and it says that the Directorate, in coordination with the contracting authority, shall, before commencing an evaluation of the private initiated proposal, conduct due diligence to confirm that the private party has complied to, and there are 5 items there. So that is a due diligence. The other one, which I also treated as due diligence, is actually not section 25, but section 27. Section 27 says that a contracting authority intending to enter into a project agreement. Now it is talking about the agreement with a private party shall, before the execution of project agreement, confirm that the private party has A, the financial capacity, B, the relevant experience, C, the relevant expertise, which now includes where you are going to, and you talked about another contractor being brought in. Those are supposed to be evaluated at this stage of section 27, and then satisfied that legal, social, and environment due diligence parameters prescribed by the Directorate are complied with. So this is what I was calling another due diligence, which is presently supposed to be conducted, why not for court case. Now, on the issue of Adani Group and payment, as far as I'm concerned, there is concession fees, which I think was supposed to be negotiated. It's in the report, negotiation report, and a figure of 50 million USD per year is mentioned. And I think that's much more than now what KAA is making. Now, on strategic investors,
No, but you have just collected, we have 50, that was it from operations or the
is it money being brought in to be invested? My concern was where in that document is Adani bringing money into the Kenyan economy.
You see, Chair, allows maybe I'm not getting in Chatta's question. What I was addressing is what are you going to get once this project is executed? Every year there's an annual concession fee. But now,
I'm not saying paying the running of the airport, splitting what's earned. I'm saying as an investor coming in, not operating an airport, but as an investor coming in, what is Adani and where in this proposal is Adani bringing in money into the Kenyan economy?
Mr. Chairman, and I will allow Chris to now take the rest of the questions. What is the equity component that Adani is bringing? 300 million USD. What is the loan component? 700 million USD. So those are the figures that I have. Now, I would allow, because there are some specific issues that were brought out by Senator Mutati, I want to please just quickly, I know there are too many, but just quickly run through the issues. And by the way, Chair, I just wanted to mention for record that I took this issue very seriously. That's why I compiled heaps of documents which you had to ask for 20 minutes to understand or read and acquaint yourselves with. I gave it my best. So if there is any idea that we didn't take this one seriously, I think it's not right, it's not correct.
Okay, well noted. Baradiji.
Thank you, sir. Chair, and thank you, sirs. I'll start with the last one so we can flow along. Yes, the CS has indicated the equity component of this transaction was 300 million from Adani, and they were coming in with a debt component, which is on their balance sheet, not on Kenya government balance sheet, on the transaction. In the various phases of the transaction, we are also going to invest further through internal generated cash flows. Allow me, Chair, to tie in something else about the 18% with this money. What Adani was supposed to collect if this transaction was to conclude is on the $300 million equity. You are only going to get, initially they requested for 18%, that was negotiated downwards to 16% on the transaction. Anything above that, the debt portion was going to be charged like to like to the users of the facility. So they were not going to make anything above that. The only and the 18% that they initially asked for was not going to last over and above the concession period. It was only going to be there for the 30 years, and immediately the concession is completed, they exit. They have no further carry on after the concession. The document is paginated. Can you point me to the page where that equity is and where those figures are in the proposal? Through the chair allowance, I'll get you the exact location of where you get that amount. I'll share it with you just now. My technical team will put it together. Give me a few minutes. In terms of just going back to what Waziri said, currently KAA makes approximately $45 million per annum. At the head of terms, the agreement was that the 45, KAA stated that they require a minimum of $50 million per annum to continue with their operations. This is going to be paid as a net amount to KAA by Adani Group. And after every 5 years, there's going to be an escalation of this $50 million. Anything Adani makes above the 18% equity on the return of equity of the 300 million, the 16% of the 300 million, anything above that was going to come in to Kenya government. I'll go now back to the initial questions through Chair. Chair, I'd like to start on the matter of...
He has not shown me where in the document money is coming into Kenya. That's the question I'm asking.
He was time. He's going to check.
Oh, sorry, I missed it.
First of all, answers the questions and then he's going to give you.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Apologies for that. We're actually going to share that with you. Chair, there were a couple of questions about the due diligence, about the Hindenburg report and the Swiss authorities' outcome. The Swiss report came out on 13th of September, which was just last week. Yeah? We did see the report. However, the process has been altered due to the court process, so the process will not do any further diligence as we speak, as Waziri had indicated. Yes, we saw the Hindenburg report. However, the Hindenburg report, the further due diligence was going to capture any findings which were going to allow us to proceed or stop the transaction. So that due diligence was going to be taken care of in the detailed due diligence that CS has touched on. I'll say CS has touched on heavily on the staff. I don't think I need to touch on that. I've touched on the 16% and the 30-year. The Konza airport development, Chair, I do confirm we have not seen and we're not in sight of that. Dubai involvement, there were comments made by some members about Dubai involvement. I confirm not to have engaged with Adani in Dubai. Neither have the only period of engagement with Adani on this matter was 100% on the Jkia transaction, and those discussions have been held here in Kenya. Chair, in terms of also just to clarify to the committee, I have never traveled to India on a matter of Jkia. I have traveled to India on other matters, but no meeting on Jkia. Chair, the matter that about insider trading of Adani, I confirm I am not aware about any insider trading of Adani.
Well, I've attached the judgment to make you aware. And just like my before I told the chair, on the document I shared, the document I submitted, the fourth page of that bundle, there's a bundle about the cabinet, dispatch from the cabinet is annexed there. Number 14 airports operating under PPI in the country. And it's instructive that we have got Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Jaipur, Param, Guwahati, Lucknow, and
Where you do, Senator? Where?
On this document, this is my bread. If you look at the extract I've highlighted in there, they will see the airport. There are factors there, but these are the airports under Adani. If you read the document, I'm just summarizing it. If you read that document, it shows that all those airports are making losses. So when you talk of Adani coming to make profit in Kenya, I don't know what informs that. Because the airports are running in India from a study from the Indian civil aviation. She has listed those airports as making losses. And this is a document I downloaded from the civil aviation website of India. So I don't know how when you talk of Adani coming to make profit in Kenya, what informs those kind of statements or those kind of expectations?
Thank you, Chair and Honorable Mutata. I'd like to confirm this, Honorable Senator. I am not indicating that Adani will make any profits in Kenya. I'm not giving that indication, and I'd like to confirm that. What we did as a directorate, we received the PIP. And when we received the PIP, we did process it. But allow me just to go through the full sequence, Honorable, through the Chair. We'll get more details. I've taken a number of your questions once you has not cited.
And finally, you are standing. You are supposed to be in Washington. What are you doing here?
I will answer. It's part of it. I have not...
Summarize. You know, the sugar levels are going down.
I understand. I'll go very fast.
It's 7 p.m.
I'll go very fast. In terms of the SPV, what we've picked up was just recently registered on 30th of August. interest. We are not aware about that as a directorate or either the evaluation committee. I can confirm from the Treasury. We're not aware of that. That SPV, that was the one you cited. In terms of change of laws, yes, they have requested for change of laws, but we indicated to them during the negotiation that that was not acceptable. We cannot predict that the government will change a law due to a transaction. So that was clearly indicated to them. On the land lease also, it was indicated to them that that will need to be managed separately between Kenya Airports Authority and Adani. That was not part of this transaction. It was out of scope. Waziri has touched very well on the employment. I will not touch on that. In terms of the legal provisions of PIP and competitive, certainly I will make this statement: a competitive process always gets a better outcome. Well, not always, but most of the chances gets a better outcome. Yeah? We have faced a competitive transaction that went through the PPP transaction and became completely unaffordable, which is in Nakuru Summit Road. That transaction was actually cancelled, not by the contractual authority, by us at the Treasury. When we saw that the cost to use 175 kilometers on a small car was going to be 1,500 shillings, and we stopped it. We shared the advice based on affordability and value for money. So in terms of which obviously a preference would be competitive, but also it's whereby we also monitor the components of the project to ensure we get value for money for the transaction.
I think DG on the most of the Nakuru now, I think we don't have the data and we don't know they did due diligence when you are doing the procurement, so we may not be able to use it as a standard to gauge the viability of competitive bidding versus PIP. The question about this PIP is this a PIP? What is being initiated?
Yes, this is a PIP. Confirm that. Honorable Chairs, Honorable Senators asked me about my appointment as Deputy Ambassador in the US. Yes, I was appointed. We've not finalized in terms of my terms. I was appointed in Treasury in 2020 December, and I was appointed as the Deputy Head of Mission in Washington, D.C. in March of this year. And since then, a lot of discussions have been ongoing, and I've not yet formally accepted my appointment. And the reason for this is purely because the terms which were presented do not match my existing terms.
I will rejected the appointment.
I am hoping they will fix my terms, Honorable Senator. There's a letter that went out to them. I think it was 2 weeks ago.
I think that's okay. The last, you have a minute?
Yes, I'll finish. Thank you. I'll finish within a minute. Market testing, in terms of did we conduct a market testing on this transaction? The answer is no, but we know from market that there's a significant market interest for airport PPPs. A number of parties, including banks, development finance institutions, have come to us and indicated that there's a lot of interest in Jkia, and also following the letter that we received from the State Department, they also received quite a bit of interest on Jkia. A market testing is conducted through a market survey, either by visiting potential proponents or potential investors. We didn't do that. The PIP initials on the heads of the initials document you're talking about, it's the heads of terms. Yes, that is not a binding document, but it's initialed by both KAA and Adani. I think I'm on the last one. Yes, the aviation policy, yes, it was approved in 11th June 2024. We confirmed that. However, the process of Adani PIP was still ongoing. finally to two final submissions, with the permission chair, very final submissions. For any PPP project to work, you need to do a detailed feasibility study, and the contractual authority needs to spearhead that from the onset. Yeah? And that's why if you look at part of the submissions we had indicated when we showed the different procurement methods that are available for an airport concession, the letter dated 9th March, September, which is on your folder, indicated to KAA all procurement methods available and what they need to do to undertake those procurement methods. Chair, with your permission, lastly, there's some comments should be made, and I'll talk about it with himself. I'm a career professional banker, came into government to provide public service. I have done a number of project finance transactions, syndicated loans, and I have not benefited on a personal capacity on this matter. I submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Senator Jkia, I think you're the last one, so that we can come to a conclusion.
Yeah, thank you very much. I know we are all tired, and I want to have a few questions, and straightforward questions. And yeah, the behavior of our fellow senators earlier was not good at all. And they wanted to ask many questions. We were here. We also wanted to ask some questions, very specific ones, and we didn't get an opportunity. Having said that, Bonacha, I want to first of all congratulate the CS for the good work he's doing. And I know he's been doing well for this country as also minority leader and also as CPAC chair. Chair, I just want to tell the CS Finance, there is the issue of infrastructure bond or floating some shares to Kenyans. I want him to look at that opportunity, if that can work, because he's been fighting for Kenyans for many, many years. And since he's now at the helm of Treasury, I want him to go back and rethink of how, a proposal, if he can also have a program to look into those things. Why am I saying this? I have a lot of connections with Ethiopia because of the border in Mali. In Ethiopia, when they upgraded their airport, they borrowed 500 million from Exim Bank of China, and you've seen what the airport is. They are now managing about 22 million passengers every year. And again, they've now started a program for about 45 kilometers from Ijbole airport to host 100 million capacity a year, and that will cost them $6 billion. And they are looking for funds. I know our Treasury CS can talk to his counterpart there and ask him, how did they manage to borrow money? And if I may add, there is the dam, a huge dam. The government there sold some shares even to Kenyans, Ethiopians and even Kenyans, and they've almost completed the dam. And that, if that can be managed, let him start a parallel program. The other issue, Chair, there is the issue of ALG. There was a transaction, what is a transactional advisor? They were procured in 2022. I don't know if the CS is aware. If you're not aware, you can check. They did some work on Jkia on the request of the Treasury. And again, KA also, or Jkia also, procured the same group. I want to know from the CS if they were procured under what circumstances. Is it a competitive bidding or what process was used? And on the same issue, this contract is supposed to take how long? The same contract, both for the Treasury and Jkia in terms of reference. And on the ALG also, I would want our friend Chris to tell us, they withdrew on 17th of July. Why did they withdraw? And if there are any correspondences on why they withdrew. The other issue raised by Senator Mutata on the issue of Chris being appointed head of mission in Washington. When CS, there is a letter from LSK asking questions about Chris, why he has not reported to Washington. And is he earning salary as appointee of head of mission in Washington? No, this one. Finally on Chris again, there was a meeting discussing on how to negotiate the issue, the matter between Jkia and Adani. And I wanted to know if that kind of a meeting was there, how many meetings you've had, whether Chris was there, and if he was there as under what capacity, and if you can be given those minutes. Thank you very much, Chair.
Yes. Yeah, Chair, thank you. I will respond to most of them and leave a few to Chris. And I want to thank Senator Jkia for what he has just observed. Chair, I want to, with all due respect, again repeat that I respect and take the work of the Senate very seriously. Probably, maybe my absence in the Senate last week gave a wrong impression, but that one, when I appear before this plenary, I will be able to explain. Maybe my former colleagues thought that that was out of not regarding the work of the Senate seriously, and probably interfered a bit with this meeting to some extent, but I will explain that when I come before the plenary. I want to just respond to a few issues. Number one is the senators clearly stated that if we could consider and maybe work on issuance of infrastructure bond, which is a very good method of financing or getting funds to finance our infrastructure. Unfortunately, Chair, where we are, the fiscal space is not there. Actually, our debt to GDP ratio is at 67% plus, and yet it should be no more than 55. In fact, we have committed that by 2028, we should lower the debt to GDP ratio to 55%. So taking a massive, a huge project of this magnitude on any kind of borrowing is not sustainable in our fiscal space. That is the reason why now we have to look for other off-balance sheet methods like PPP to get our airport done.
Yeah, you talked about floating shares also, floating shares.
Floating shares, yeah. I think, okay, well, that should be considered. Now, on joint venture, I want also to mention that, yes, it is true that Ethiopia is doing very well in the region, and that is why one of the reasons I want to plead. Whatever we do as a country, whatever we say, it is important that we develop Jkia to meet the standards. Otherwise, we'll miss the regional hub that we have been. Actually, we started doing to Ethiopia, and it's not good. We will even lose to Rwanda very soon. So it is important that no matter what we do as a country, there must be some motion towards ensuring that we develop Jkia. We cannot continue with business as usual. On ALG, procured twice. It's true. It was procured in 2022, but that time it was supposed to help us do aviation policy, to work on the aviation policy, and it was competitively done through the national treasury. Yes.
Yes, I have a report that says that they were given two things to do, the issue of aviation and also Jkia. I have even copies of the documents.
Yeah. So it was about the investment plan and also Jkia. But now the last one, which is 23-24, was direct to KAA. And this was procured by KAA to do feasibility study. And this was a direct procurement. As to whether it was done correctly, I think that's something we can interrogate.
Again, Chair, I asked about Treasury also in 2022. Was it procured a direct procurement or a normal process has been taken?
In 2022 one was competitive. That's the information we have.
Can we get
competitively done? We can get that information. That's the information I have is that it was done competitively. Now, on Chris going to Washington and whether the CS, National Treasury, is aware, whether probably is earning two salaries, I would say this, that as National Treasury, which has hired Chris through PSC, until we get a resignation letter that she has taken up another appointment, and she is offering service, to the government of Kenya and the people of Kenya, as the director of the Directorate of PPP, we have no reason to stop paying him. But I can confirm that he's not earning a salary as the deputy head of mission to Washington, meaning he hasn't taken up this appointment. The time he takes up the appointment, I am sure he will submit the resignation letter, because the law does not allow you to be employed by the same government twice. On the other case of Chris, I think he will now address that, and if there is anything I've left out.
There is the issue of LSK letter. If you are aware, fine. If you are not, if you can check with your
Yes. The LSK letter about the employment of Chris.
Yes, why he has not gone to Washington.
But when you sit here, I don't know whether I would push my employee to take up another assignment if he doesn't want to. If he hasn't resigned, I would be comfortable if he stays behind and help me out, because I have not got a replacement. But it would be illegal if he takes up two appointments. I mean, if he fails to notify or resign and still continues.
We are in a broad-based government now. If he has rejected that offer, somebody from your area can be.
Anyway, I would want, maybe the only point I would make is that Chris should finalize negotiation quickly with the appointing authority regarding his terms, so that another Kenyan, because Kenyans are complaining of unemployment. I think he should not take inordinately too long to make up his mind. But that I would make as a general comment. In terms of procedure, what I have is that is my employee, is my staff at the National Treasury, and he hasn't absented himself without any permission. So he's offering 100% service to the National Treasury in the Directorate. Thank you. Chris.
Thank you, Waziri. Thank you, Chair and members. Waziri, to touch on, I'll start with the last question I was asked about the negotiation process. As Waziri said, I'm still a National Treasury employee. I attended the negotiation. Actually, there are three stages of interactions on this, which was in the first stage was a PIP submission stage. When the PIP was submitted, there was a technical team that sat in between Jkia, the National Treasury, which is represented by the PPP Directorate, and also the State Department of Transport. That meeting, the meeting took place to evaluate that submission from Adani, and immediately that was the evaluation team submitted. We sent it back to the Directorate through KAA, and we submitted it to the PPP committee for approval. I interacted on this matter when it came to the Directorate, not during the evaluation. And the second stage is a project development phase, when the feasibility study is submitted to the National Treasury by the Contractual Authority. The Contractual Authority receives the feasibility report from the proponent, which is Adani. We did receive it. We did submit it to the PPP Directorate. We did set up another evaluation, the same evaluation team, who sat in to evaluate that proposal. That did take place. I was not part of that evaluation, and that was submitted to the PPP committee, which I'm a member of, and it was approved to go to the next stage. Lastly is during the negotiation. At the negotiation stage, this is whereby we had a Word document, not really Word, it was a better improved document from the first submissions that Adani did because he had done an on-ground feasibility. I did take place on the negotiations of that feasibility during the negotiation session. We did that together with KAA, the State Department of Transport, and there are also other state departments that were invited for this, including State Department of Transport, the Attorney General's Office, and also I believe Kenya Civil Aviation Authority was also invited for those sessions. Lastly, I confirm what my Waziri said. I do not receive two salaries. I only receive one salary, and I'm here to serve the country. Thank you.
Chair, there is a question they were not answered on the ALG advisors. They quit on 17th of July. Why? And do you have any correspondence if you have a copy?
You're absolutely right, Honorable Chair, through the Chair, Honorable Member. Senator, we did quit. What happened is we're having an engagement with ALG, and ALG mentioned to Kenya Airports Authority and gave them some reasons. We never received any communication, the formal communication from ALG. We had requested for it from KAA, we've never seen it to date. And I can confirm this, we were not party of contracting ALG, we were only party of contracting ALG in the aviation policy that was completed in 2022 through a competitive process with